Hi loves! So my name is Shawn Coleman and I am a platonic touch practitioner and a cuddle up event facilitator at Touchpoints Cuddles and Community. And I talk about touch all day long and cuddles and all of that. And so today I want to talk about cuddles and the coronavirus, because obviously touch is really important and it's part of our everyday experience for many of us. And it's something that we need to bring some additional awareness to as we are dealing with this coronavirus, like as a society. And so I wanted to touch on that. And I've made myself a few notes so that I can kind of stay on track. And I will be looking down at those from time to time. So I'll read from my list real quick just so you know which topics we're going to cover so that you can pay attention and stay for the part that really is of interest to you. So number one, consider no contact greetings. So we're going to talk about some of the no contact greetings. Number two, consent is especially important. Let's break that down, what that looks like. And number three, you still need touch. Yeah, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So let's keep that in mind. And I'll go through all of those in just a bit. I just want you to know what I was going to talk about in this video. So kicking it off with number one. So consider some no contact greetings. So for many of us, it's very common to hug and to greet people with a big warm hug. And I'm definitely one of those people who enjoys a big hug, who enjoys really just sinking into the moment and relaxing and feeling the oxytocin start to flood my system. I truly love that. It's one of my favorite things when I get to spend time with my friends and my loved ones and other people who I might meet at cuddle events and things like that. I really, truly love touch and hugs. And it's important that we try to help minimize the spread of this virus in any ways that feel accessible and possible for us, things that we can do. Obviously, none of us can do all of the things on all of the lists. Sorry about that little time there, sorry. But no, none of us can do all the things on all of the lists. But where we can, we really should be making some changes and some alterations to our everyday lives. And so one of those things is that we can consider some no contact greetings in lieu of hugs. So, things like waves, and waves might not seem as close, but it's an option. Looking down this list again, big smiles and a hey. It's like, hey! When somebody gives you that huge smile and their eyes light up, that's connection. That also feels really good to me. And air hugs, air hugs are kind of cheesy, but also you could play with that. You could have fun with the cheesiness and offer somebody that air hug, where you just kind of mimic the hugging, but don't actually touch each other. That's an option in order to keep your touch to a minimum with any given person. And if all of these things sound okay, but it makes you feel I won't really be connecting with that person, and that feels kind of sad, and you want to really connect with the people that you are interacting with, the people that you're seeing, then I encourage you to consider something like eye-gazing. I personally love eye gazing. It's basically just sitting with someone, usually sitting, it could be standing as well, but we'll say sitting for the purposes of this video. And you just sit right across from each other with as little space as feels comfortable. So if you're both comfortable, sitting with let's say your knees being about 2 inches apart, go for that. If you feel comfortable sitting with your knees just barely touching, then hey, do that. And just making eye contact, allowing yourself to really see that other person, to connect, to feel their energy, to feel, whatever it is they're putting out in the world. Being with someone in that way can be an incredibly intimate experience. And for some of us, it can feel even more bonding than a hug. And I say, like I said, sitting as close as you both feel comfortable with the eye gazing. And, during this period of time when we are most concerned about coronavirus, for this eye gazing at this time, you probably want to stay a little bit further away from each other. So you might want to, stand about, a foot or so apart, possibly more, whatever you can, as far as you can stand and comfortably still feel like you are connecting with each other and you're seeing each other. I say go for that. So yeah, you can figure that out on your own, but yeah, you get the picture, you get the idea. And with eye gazing, it can be something that lasts for 10 seconds. It can be something that lasts for 10 minutes. It's up to you and the person that you're eye gazing with in terms of what feels comfortable for you. So I say pitch that to a friend, try it out. Could be fun. If you have other ideas on how you can connect and feel really just like you're communing with somebody else, you're getting to really know someone else, or you're getting to really greet someone else and let them know that you care about their presence without touching, then please comment down below so that we can share ideas, tips, and tricks around how to do this, how to still stay connected during these potentially months when we're hoping for a cure to come. All right. So next, number 2, consent is especially important. So consent is always important, always required. That said, I know that a lot of people do like small little tiny touches without thinking about it. For example, if you're in a restaurant, you may touch the back of someone's shirt or touch their back, as you're passing them to kind of let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm passing by you, no big deal. Or if someone's tag is hanging outside of their shirt, you might put it in for them and give it a little tap to let them know, hey, your tag was out, I tucked it in, now you're good to go. These are all like just casual, polite gestures that are pretty common in our society and are often done without any permission. I encourage you during this time to ask for that thing or to simply use your words to avoid that touch when that is a more practical solution, so that you are not touching as often, but also when you are touching, that you're touching with consent, because we don't want to force anyone else to touch us without knowing, because we want people to be allowed to minimize their own risk as much as possible. Cool. Along that same line, like some of us, will want to snuggle up with people. We will want to greet people with hugs still, or we still may want to greet people with handshakes. Perhaps we'll switch to that since we can easily wash our hands real quick during the day. So if you're going to, give someone a handshake or whatever, then just make sure that you're getting consent. Make sure that you're asking, and that you're using the ask and wait method to wait for consent. So you're asking, you're just chilling, like, hey, can I have a handshake? Or hey, can I shake your hand? And then you're just waiting in this kind of neutral position. And then after the person says yes, then you can go ahead and proceed, reach out your hand and go ahead and get that handshake. And if the person says no, then obviously you don't do that. But the important thing to remember is to wait to extend your hand or wait to extend your arms or whatever the case may be until after you have gotten permission. Because some of us, which is very common in our society, get very excited. And we're like, hey, can I hug you? And we're already going in for the hug before we've received that permission, that consent to offer that hug. And so make sure that you're waiting. Make sure that you're allowing that person that space to decide, because a lot of people who would non-discriminately or indiscriminately hug every single person who asks or give a handshake to any person who's interested on a typical day might not be up for that in the current state of conditions in our society. So, keep that in mind. And again, allow people to take care of themselves. Also, this is a good practice on an everyday basis as well. So, it's a good time, if not now, when, it's a good time to get in the habit of using the ask and wait method. If you have more questions or concerns about that, please feel free to comment down below. I also have a video all about it, and I'll link that video as well so that you can check that out and learn more about that if you're interested. Cool. All right. So, yeah. And also, like, yeah, number 3, you still need touch. Yeah. Like, as I said, like some experts are saying that it could possibly take months before we have a cure. It could take months before we are back to business as usual, so to speak, around touch and interactions. And so, make sure that you are still finding ways to connect. And we shouldn't be, like for our health, we shouldn't be going months without touching people. Connection is important, intimacy is important, touch is important, it is vital. So, you're gonna have to touch some people sometimes. And you can just kind of figure out in which ways you want to receive touch and how you're going to receive that sustained touch so that you can take care of yourself in that way. And that might mean that you have some extra requests. If you have a partner or a significant other, you might ask that, that person be mindful of certain things before coming over. Like if you know that they are, coming over from the train or something like that, somewhere where they might be potentially exposed to a lot of people who might be exposed, or who might be carrying the virus, then, perhaps you're asking them if you can make it part of your ritual to shower beforehand, or perhaps they suggest as well that it's better to meet up with people outside, versus inside in enclosed containers. I don't know if that's what you would call a room, but whatever. You get the picture. So yeah, consider that. Consider if you might be able to perhaps go for a stroll with someone holding hands. What you might be able to do in order to kind of minimize your risk, but still get that touch. I'm saying? Perhaps don't hug everybody all the time. Maybe be a little bit more selective about who you hug. Like, it's okay. You got to do what you got to do and still get some hugs. Please still get some hugs. And please try to connect in some other ways too. So if you are, for example, working from home more and trying to avoid, going out to restaurants and different friends gatherings and things like that, maybe you suggest some like video chats with friends so that you can connect, so that you can talk to them, so that you can still feel like you are being joined with them. Consider eye gazing as well. Eye gazing through video chat is a possibility as well. It seems kind of silly, but I do know a friend who regularly eye gazes with others doing over video chat, and it can be an interesting activity that might be a little bit too out there for you. I get it, it's cool, but yeah, consider some deep conversations as well. Having really deep and authentic, vulnerable connections are another way that we actually can get oxytocin to be produced. So that's kind of a cool way as well. So think of some alternative ways that you can connect where you can still feel seen. And if you are a person who, if touch is your primary love language. So I'm talking about the love languages by Gary Chapman. I have a video about that as well. I can link that below. But yeah, if touch is your primary love language, if you feel cared for, if you feel connected to people when you receive touch, or if you like to care for others by giving touch, then I encourage you to really, really think about some of the other ways that you can connect, some of the other ways that you can feel loved, some of the other ways that you can help others to feel loved. Maybe you're sending out some cute little greeting cards. Maybe you send some really heartfelt text messages. Maybe you buy some gifts. Maybe you make some extra time for people to talk on the phone with them. Think about some different ways that you can connect with people, that you can talk to people that might work for you and might work for them. Again, it's a little bit harder when touch is your primary love language during this time, but if there are other ways that you can feel connected, then I encourage you to really lean into some of those as well, and lean into that secondary love language, that one that is almost as good for you as the touch, so that you can still feel connected, still feel loved up during this time, because again, it could be months, and I hope that it's not, but it could be. And so solutions like, oh, I just won't hug anybody this week, or I just, won't hold anybody's hands right now, or whatever, those types of solutions work well if we're talking about a few days. But if we're talking about a few months, it's a different story. So keep that in mind and take care of yourself. Find sustainable solutions that work for you and work for the loved ones around you. Also, for me, I'm gonna be honest, like I'm not going to completely eliminate touch. I am going to, again, probably be more selective and maybe, just make sure that I am clearly communicating with people before, hugs, and make sure that they know that I will not be in any way offended if there are no to hugs, even if we hug every single time we see each other typically. Just making sure that they know they have lots of space to say no to me, because that's important, and trying to get those hugs still. I also will mention that I personally have a Cuddle Up event that is scheduled for the end of this month. I'm highly considering canceling that or having to postpone that because of this current situation. So we'll see what happens with that. If you're a person who regularly attends cuddle parties, Cuddle Up events, or similar events, you may want to check in with the organizer and see what plans they have in terms of that. I'm thinking that I might, instead of canceling it, I might just have some different alternatives, some different ways that people can connect in lieu of just physical touch. Maybe having some different options, again, like eye gazing and things like that can allow people to feel really seen. Maybe have some question games that we can play and things like that, because I really want people to still feel connected, to still feel loved, to still feel honored during this time, because we obviously still very much need it as a society. All right, I love you bunches. I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day. If you have tips and tricks, please comment down below. If you have thoughts on ways that we can connect, please comment down below. And if you have like another video that you want to share that is around connection, then please share that down below, because I want all of us to feel connected, to feel supported, to feel loved during this time. All right, I love you bunches. I hope you're having a beautiful, wonderful day. Bye for now. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed already, then go ahead and subscribe using I think it's like down in this corner, maybe. All right, we'll see. Bye.